Since the start of the 2000s, the zombie horror genre has been a growing phenomenon in all medias, whether it be in Hollywood, on TV, in literature, or in video games. While most of us think of zombies as works of fiction to represent humanity's doom, what many ignore is that zombies are actually a thing. As of today, however, zombification does not affect humans and is slightly different from what we witness in fiction, but there is still truth to the stories we all love to hear. Zombies in real life and zombies in fiction are very different from one another, so we will look at them separately. Let's start with the real-life zombies. There are multiple examples in nature where a small entity takes control of a larger one to do its bidding, like, for example, Ophiocordyceps unilateralis is a fungus that takes over the mind of an ant with a chemical that is injected in the ant. When under the influence of the chemical, the ant is not in control of its own body and is forced to participate in the fungus's reproductive cycle. And there's also a similar case with wasps and spiders, where the wasp lays an egg on the spider's abdomen after paralyzing it. And when the egg hatches, the larva injects the spider with a mind-controlling chemical, which changes the spider's web-making pattern and prepares the web for a larva's cocoon.
Now, if you take a look at fictional zombies, like the ones in popular TV shows such as The Walking Dead, or the zombies in video games such as The Last of Us or Left 4 Dead, we can see a big difference between fictional and real-life zombies. In The Walking Dead, for example, zombies are dead people whose cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for the muscular activity, is taken over by a virus and they eat people. In The Last of Us, zombies are a little bit more realistic, as in inspired from real life. The zombies in the game are living people who are infected by a fungus called cordyceps and forced to attack other people, infecting them and spreading the fungus even more. The usual zombie from Left 4 Dead is also realist, being someone who is infected by a rabies-like virus and thus not completely dead, allowing him and his fellow zombies to run around and climb walls in order to pursue a survivor. The main difference we see between real life and fictional zombies is the fact that in real life, zombified organisms aren't aggressive and don't eat other members of their species. Real-life zombies are used as means to an end by smaller organisms to procreate, whereas the zombies in fiction spell doom for humanity.
While the purpose of zombies varies from fiction to reality, the way the infection is transmitted is pretty much the same across all platforms. There are two main ways to transmit the infection, one being via bites, who transfer a chemical into the victim, and the other is via aviary route, like spores and other gases.
So let's imagine that a zombie infection was to start spreading throughout humans. What kind of infection will it be? If we are going for realism as well as doom for humanity, we should go for a virus that aim at reproducing but destroy humanity at the same time. In this case, the virus will look a lot like the cordyceps virus mentioned previously, where a fungus takes over the body of a human and forces it to attack and infect others, therefore causing the reproduction of said fungus. In this situation, what kind of zombies should we be looking at? In fiction, there are two main types of zombies, the fast one and the slow ones. The slow zombies are usually dead people brought back to life with limited motor skills. So in our situation, the zombies would probably be fast zombies, able-bodied people who were infected.
Considering that Ophiocordyceps unilateralis uses spores to infect people, biting would not be the only way to get infected if the zombie outbreak was caused by fungus. Combining the spores and the very fast zombies, The spreading rate of the fungus would be extremely fast and hard to stop by medicine or the army, leading to a world where people are forced to survive alone or in small groups.
In the event of a zombie apocalypse, the best way to survive will be to find a rural place where there are almost zero zombies to begin with. Obviously, you will need a supply of food to be able to survive, but that will not be a major problem if we assume that the majority of the world's population has been infected. Just find any kind of supermarket nearby and take as many canned food as you can and then drive away to the countryside. Finding a safe place won't be that hard, especially in Canada, where the population density is extremely low in the first place. After you've found a safe place to live, it's in the countryside where there will be plenty of land available if you want to farm and not have to go back in town or near a city where most of the zombies will be. You will need to set perimeter around your land in case of some wandering zombies end up where you are in order to be safer. As for weapons, you have two main choices, melee and firearms. Melee weapons require a lot of precautions because you are exposing yourself to the nearby zombies when you are attacking them. And a firearm is mainly a safer choice, but it also comes with some drawbacks. The first one being the noise. As many people know, guns equals noise, and they are loud, so the noise will attract nearby zombies. In order to reduce the impact of this, you can add a suppressor to your weapon, but this won't take care of the second problem, being that your ammo is running lower and lower each time you shoot. So a good choice to defend yourself would be to choose or possess a crossbow, which is silent because it shoots arrows, and it can also be used at a safe distance.
The hardest part of surviving might actually be managing to get food at the start of the outbreak because of the threat the zombies pose. They're fast and dangerous because they're controlled by fungus and they don't care for their life. If you're trying to get supplies from a supermarket, for example, because it's a big place and there's a lot of supplies, there's bound to be many people living nearby because of the urban area and therefore many zombies. So you have to take into account that other people might have looted the place before you, and you have to choose very carefully before you try to loot the place. However, even if you manage to get the food you need, you might not be out of the woods yet. Because with society gone, no progress will be made in medicine and science in general, meaning that in a few years, modern medicine will be gone and people will be vulnerable to basic illnesses that didn't pose a threat before, like, for example, measles. So to recap, if there ever is a zombie outbreak, you should find food and go to a place where there's no one. And if you can do that, you might survive until a cure or other alternative is found, or you can just live out the rest of your days. Thank you.